Hey guys, how's it going? It's AdamaSanguine and welcome back to Fallout. Today we're taking a focused look on the interiors of Sanctuary. If you're not familiar with the reasoning behind the Farewell Suburbia, please go back and watch episode 1 labeled Exteriors. Of course, that one goes into a lot more details, the reasoning behind this build. You could also read the video description for a brief synopsis, but to give you a little bit of a hint of it, this community was built on the remains of a settlement that was done here pre-war, before it was bought out by big business, so on and so forth. Now, the interior here, this was actually part of a shipping office. Not a lot of detail in here. This is actually mostly used by Mama Murphy because she actually is part of our security force, or head of security. And this back here is just a bed that I set up for Mama that she can actually use. Now, if you could say that why isn't it blocked out by the rain? She does have a piece of plywood here just to keep the rain off her face. And fun fact, of course, with Fallout 4, the guards never actually sleep, or at least we never actually see them. We have two guards at this given time. There's a guard station here. Now, one thing I did realize, you guys saw me doing that little hard time to Mama, standing in the middle of the stairwell. Actually realized that I used a stairwell, or a guard post, to block the bottom of that stairwell. Yeah, so that was actually the reasoning behind this. She was assigned to that guard post. I didn't even realize it. I did find this little sleeping area back here. Now, Mama Murphy is supposed to be off the Kim, so I'm not sure whose this is. It could be hers, but at least they were nice enough to put it on top of a napkin. Isn't that nice? Kim's. But we'll go back outside here. So just a base little spot here just to give an extra bed for these guys. Again, I'd really like to find out who's using it. Now, you guys probably don't realize, since all the vanilla landmarks have been removed, that this shipping office actually sits right on top of where the old survivalist house was. The one with the fallen tree, the duffel bag on the rooftop, and of course, the backyard bunker. Originally, Johnny's house was going to be the big red one, of course. Actually donated that to Ann Hawthorne. She looks after Sean. Sean stays in the upstairs. But I wanted someplace, some privacy, a little bit of a man cave, and a place that I can come and get some peace and quiet. Now, inside this, I was actually trying to go for, I guess you can call it my first mod. Obviously, this is not going to be a mod that's put on the internet unless somebody wants to make that. Looking at you, Mad Rocks. Just kidding. It would turn out a lot better than this if Mad Rocks did it. But I wanted to go with something basic, something that you might actually find in the Fallout universe, and at the same time go ahead and deck it out a little bit, something that we would see in that standard modded stuff. So I got a lot of stuff in here from Creation Club. I got a lot of different things in here. I really love how this one turned out. It's very basic. Again, something that you would find around the military bases, and of course added some of the stuff in here that you would find in a standard home. I got a lot of furniture in here that was from the original vanilla build. Again, we sucked all that stuff up, placed it in the build menu, and placed it inside here. I love how the dining room table turned out. That's actually just one of the vanilla display cases that I sunk into the ground, a piece of plywood, and one of the Christmas lights from Creation Club. All in all, I'm really happy with how this room turned out. Some of the little details that you might notice is the cinder block I put around the roof hatch here with that height in the wire. All these ceiling tiles does come from the Fallout 4 guys requested parts mod. These greaves as well. Some of that's actually from Akira's Clutter. I'm really happy that I was able to hide those wires. These machines here actually regulate all the power coming from the solar power panels and the wind farm generator. Auto, I was actually able to cover up that light switch, or the power switch, with a fuse box there. I know there's one that comes with a working door on it. I'm not sure where that is located. It could be in the Fallout 4 guys parts, and don't know if you have access to that on Xbox. In the armory and loot room, I actually have my favorite mod authors on the walls, as I try to do. We got Red Rocket TV, Eleonora, and of course Mad Rocks himself. Thanks, man, so much for the love that you give me. Now, all this room in here is a lot of different things in here. Of course, you notice the Sardeliac Chem Station. Yeah, just really happy with how this turned out. Now, one of the things that you're going to see here, check this out. This is a shout out to Sean Zaz. If you guys want to see some of the best Fallout 4 machinima or animated stuff, check this out. The hitbox on that armor rack actually encompasses the entire tool chest there, so no matter where you click it from, you always have access to your armor. I really love how that turned out. Thank you so much, Sean Zaz, for all the hours that you've given me of entertainment. Now, the two black cats, you might recognize their names. That's actually Jezargo and Garjo. You might be familiar with them from Skyrim. If not, that's where their names come from. I'm really happy that I was able to work them in. I just wanted a basic bedroom in here. Of course, I'm not going to spend a lot of time in here, just come down here to sleep. In this locker, I have the Overboss's power armor from Nuka World. That's the helmet. The welding mask there, that's actually one of the engineers that I took out during the Defend the Castle. And of course we have Gage's armor. Let's go back up top real quick. Here I am. Hi! But I actually have a fast travel map that brings me directly to this bunker whenever I load into Sanctuary. You'll notice the wires here. I was actually able to bring in all the power from the solar power array. Really happy with how that turned out. You'll notice all the rooftop awnings. I was able to match that up to the rusty pillar steakhouse. Happy that I was able to keep a lot of the same architecture throughout this entire build. So you'll see keys and nods throughout this entire thing. Let's go to, again, one of my favorite buildings in this entire place, and of course one of my favorite areas, which this stone bench is actually marking that. Really happy. Again, this is where the original cul-de-sac was, that again does not exist in real world. This crab shack, you guys know that I posted a couple of pictures in the middle of that video, or showed a couple of screenshots, so if you want to find that outside the Bedford station, it's right there. Is it Bedford? Anyway, some of the differences that you'll notice in mine is I do have the privacy wall here for the bathtub, and of course we also have a stealth boy, just for those people that want a bit more privacy than the average. Down here on the lower level, this is where you do your number one business, and back here in the back is where you go number two. Nice. Yeah, really like how this turned out. Of course, I also have some lighting in here as well with these candles and the wall mount there. We got the evil garden gnome standing on guard. Down here is where we collect the biomatter that gets turned into fertilizer for the crops, and of course you got to have the fire barrel to help cut back on the smell, because it gets quite stinky here in the summertime. Between that and the Brahmin waste, we do a really great job of self-sustaining this community between the solar power array, the wind farm generator, and then of course all this. It's just really nice to help growing our own crops here, being again self-sustaining. Oh, hey there, Sturgis. What's going on, dude? Looking great in your Adam Cat swag. If you guys didn't know, he's actually a really great friend of the Adam Cats. He may also be an honorary member. Don't quote me on that. But he helps to maintain all the electrical equipment and some of the engineering stuff here as well. Nice. Yeah, now we're going to go take a look at the general store. This is one of the buildings that existed here pre-war. And this is actually where June and Marcy stay. June actually runs the general store. This house is actually based on the one over in Somerville Place, if you're familiar with that location. This one is that one there is from USO, and that helped inspire this building. Now, to kind of step outside a little bit, guys, all the exterior and interior lighting, there is no actual true power running to any of these. All the lighting is provided by custom vanilla assets, and I hand place every single bit of lighting in here. So all the lights themselves are just all for show, and all the lighting again is actually placed by me just to make it look really nice. And I think I did a pretty darn good job. I didn't want to have too much overpower lighting in here. I just wanted it to be a little bit dark, and again keeping in with that Fallout theme. Yeah, I really love how this turned out. You guys know about all my hand-placed junk that I place. Of course, we can grab a couple things off here if we need to, just to show. I tried to keep most of this in alphabetical order, believe it or not, because, again, OCD. But then at the end, I decided to go ahead and place a few things out of place, because if you guys have ever been in a real-life store, you know that people like to put things back wherever they happen to walk by. Yeah, love how this little medicine cabinet turned out. Again, June is in the actual vanilla game. June is a former pharmacist from down in Quincy, so I wanted to keep some of that theme in here as well. Yeah, more of that alphabetical stuff. If you guys want to do a freeze frame and look at every single thing on that shelf, you'll see that I pretty much got the alphabetical order all the way around to the back side until I changed it up a little bit. Yeah, I love how this room turned out. Now, some of you might be wondering why there's not more buildings in here. You guys know that if you build too much, you do, of course, start to crash your game. There's actually the equivalent of 2 buildings here because all these walls are actually from workshop based items. These are actually different types of wallpaper, and those wallpapers are all one dimensional. So the one side is invisible and the other side is actually that texture that you see here. So there's actually 2 buildings in one here. All the floors are actually vanilla floors from the farmhouse set in Creation Club, or excuse me, in the vanilla game, excuse me. Yeah, love how this turned out. I love this whole courtyard here. Some more of that damage that you'll see here that I mentioned in the first video. Got a little bit of a broken step here. All the door frames, I had to hand place all these beams and flip them around. So again, because once you do the dual wallpaper there, yeah, you actually don't get any kind of seams around it, so it actually does show otherwise. So I did a lot of extra work on this, which is why it took a month to do this entire settlement. Really love how this turned out. Yeah, I love the lighting in here, those hanging lights. And again, there's the original vanilla workbench. I was so happy that I was able to measure this room out the way I did. This is Sturgis's desk. In this safe here, I got Kellogg's pistols, some pre-war money, and these are the most important thing. These are our pieces of the solar power backup. Again, that's from the Go Green, Go Solar mod. And right here you'll notice the settlement bell. If we need to call the settlers in, it's actually sunk into that wall. Really love how that turned out. Nice.
Protect and serve.
Now, originally I'd mentioned that I'd scrapped everything. This is actually 2 pieces of stone that I kept from the original road in Sanctuary, so I was happy to be able to use that in this walkway. Another set of custom steps. Now, this house itself was inspired by several houses throughout the Commonwealth, and then you'll notice that I actually started building this over in the MIB build, but since brought it over here and rebuilt it, which is why you'll notice it's a little bit different around the doors with this piping. So kind of a futuristic design. Again, this was originally going to be my house. Now, this is actually Anne Hargrave's clothing store. If you're not familiar with Anne, you can get her as a settler after freeing Rex Goodman and Strong over in the WRVR radio station. Just simply go there after freeing Rex and get his suit and get Anne as well, and she can become a level 4 clothing vendor. Nice. She actually sells a lot of the stuff from the graphic t-shirts in Creation Club. Now you'll notice here I actually added in the fancy wood there around the counter. Really love how that turned out. This itself, now I got to show you this awesome kitchen. This is all the original kitchen work that was in Nate and Nora's house. Of course, now we're over here in Johnny Sweets' home. This is the original table and original set of chairs. So again, I had mentioned that I kept all the original furniture just so that I can reuse that, cut back on some of the asset use, and that really did help. I love the walls in here. This is amazing. Originally, this was actually part of a Slocum's Joe attached to the clothing store. Now, I got to show you this animation. Check this out. Now, keep an eye on it. Now, normally I fast forward this. Look at that. I love that. We were actually cooking donuts in a sink. That's actually a fun joke that goes back to something from when I was in my early 20s, which we don't need to go back here. Oh, it's the whole thing about spaghetti. Yeah, man, fun story. But in here in the back, this was originally going to be a bathroom because I had to close up the bottom of the staircase, but now it's actually just a storage closet. I left all the stuff out of here just so I can show off the sliding door that we can get in and out of there. That's actually her safe, of course, and of course Sean can actually get in there and hide if he needs to under a settlement attack. Not that anything would ever happen to him anyway. Nice. Now this up here is where Sean and Anne sleeps. So this is a really nice. You'll notice the 360 design of all the windows. The windows wrap all the way completely around, with the exception of at the door. But then the door itself is an actual screen door. Got this beautiful bay window looking over top of the crops. Really love how it turned out. Here is Anne's bed here on the right, and this is Sean's bed back here in the back. So we all know that Sean is a synth. He himself doesn't, so I thought it was kind of fun to have the toolkit or the toolbox underneath. And he actually is into comics. He's got his Garagna comic book and his technical journal learning about cryogenics. And here is Eleonora's beautiful armor bench. I decided to go ahead and rough that up a little bit. That, of course, is from Creation Club in the Neon Flats. I'm really happy with how that turned out. It actually didn't take long. Just putting that backing on there took the longest. This is my glass fire escape. Really love how this turned out. This took a lot of effort putting these windows in here and flipping them around. But again, all the 360-degree windows that go all around this place is all actually made from privacy glass. Now this Minutemen logo I placed up here just for any vertebrates flying over to know that this is actually guarded by the Minutemen. I did that in my castle build as well. If you guys saw the thumbnail on that, that was the reasoning. I never got a chance to show that on camera outside the thumbnail. This is the original sofa and seat and coffee table. Now this is an idea that I have for a mod. Now if you guys wanted to do something and make a mod, how about doing it with the solar-powered washer and dryer? The water there, using the crystal vases and the Abraxo cleaner, adding up, getting permission from the mod author that created the solar power panels, and of course being able to find that. I figure inside the chemicals inside those crystal vials could actually be something, everything from helping you get charisma, boosting your intelligence, what have you, giving you extra AP, whatever it is that you would actually happen to add in there. Really love how that turned out. Nice. Next, we're going to take a look at the back patio. Really love how this turned out. There's not a lot of stuff out here, but at the same time, there kind of is. So again, imagine that this at one time was a clothing store and a Slocum's Joe together. So they would have together used this space. And of course, with the bombs that dropped, of course, destroying part of the wall there. And I'd imagine being able to use this whole back deck here. I really love how this turned out. Just got the damage here and repairing that. Really love this patio. This is one of my favorites. It overlooks Vault 111 and the wind farm. Really love this. Again, not a lot of stuff out here. The sad part is, again, go outside a little bit, is using this type of texture. The NPCs won't actually walk on this. Kind of sad. Now, with the Slocum's Joe, we actually moved out a lot of the stuff that we could not use that was just in the way. So we got the old seat, the old door from Slocum's Joe, and some of the storage that we took out of the closets and up in the attic. So really love how that turned out. Of course, we got the Wanderer's motorcycle and these sliding gates. I'd imagine this was actually like kind of like a work area where they would have loaded the trucks, or like a loading zone, loading area. Really like that. Even got it meshed with the dirt that comes up around. There might have been some asphalt that brought everything in here at one time as well. Now take a look at this. If you guys have ever been to an IHOP or one of those bed and breakfast places, look at these using Akira's clutter, using the greaves. I actually placed those on there. That's actually, I imagine, what they would have used to crank, open the window shutters with a crank. Now we're going to go over into the ooh, there's a bit of a stutter there. Got to let it load every time I get to this half spot. Next, we're going to take a look at the Bostonian Longhouse. Again, if you didn't see the first video, this is a mixture of the Bostonian Longhouse and those thin houses that you find in San Francisco. Now, because Johnny had worked his way up through the Brotherhood of Steel, at the time he was actually expected, of course, to hate all synths, all ghouls, all super mutants, but because some of his friends were actually those same people that he was expected to hate and kill on sight, he could not let it be known that his best friend, Nick, was actually a synth. So he took it upon himself to help the railroad undercover. So this would have been a bit of a synth safe house for the railroad, even if it was going to be him that took it over. So the sad part is that he did actually have to kill the railroad as part of his mission. He could not blow his cover because, of course, he wanted to get Sean out of the Institute. Nice. Not a lot of decorations on the outside here. Wasn't really necessary. Again, it was just originally going to be a storage area, a place with that workbench, and we just needed a couple places for the synths to hang out. Nice. Fairly happy with how this whole building turned out. I wish I could have done more with that down there, but we were getting pretty up there with budget usage as well. Love that bus seat there. Nice. Now, the inside of this house, not a lot of decorations. It was inspired by Croup Manor and was the second to last thing that I built right before doing the bunker itself. So, yeah, really happy with how this turned out. Now, if I was to rant a little bit, guys, I think I've been doing this long enough to hopefully that you would allow me to do so. And anybody that's using these work pieces or building pieces from workshop-based items and settlement forgotten objects. I always forget the names of those, so I apologize if I butcher them. But settlers, with the exception of the staircases, will not actually use them. Sadly, they will not walk on these floors. They won't go anywhere near the walls. They will not go through the doorways. So all in all, most people that's been building for a while, any of the advanced builders, will tell you that it doesn't really matter. It's not about the pathing. It's just simply about the art and the building. I try my best to make these functional, the best that I can, to make them look lived in, and I love how they turned out for the most part. And all in all, if there was something that we could repair or something that I would love to do in the future, just unfortunately I don't have the means at this time to be able to work with the creation kit and build you guys some nice mods, and hopefully something that would be usable. Maybe someday in the future, if I ever get the money to do that, that'd be fantastic. So back on track. This is actually my Nuka World storage area. I've got the Nuka Nukes here. I've got the zapper gun there. And yeah, just really love the attention to detail up here. We get back here to the back. This is a little undecorated. That's mainly just because, again, this is part of the area that had the most destruction on this building. This was the part that got hit. So you'll notice there I lined it up with the edge of the mountain. So with that glowing sea off there in the distance, this part got hit the hardest in this entire settlement. So it blew out the entire third floor with the exception of these few pieces. And we got the nice balcony overlooking the rusty pillar steakhouse, which is where we're going to go next. And one of the things that I wanted to do with this is, well, actually, again, to step outside a little bit, is if you're building with those pieces, none of them are snappable. Some of them are only available with Place Anywhere, or placeable with Place Anywhere and Place Everywhere. So by the time everything was said and done, I just got so frustrated that I started having the damaged vanilla pieces, which in my opinion turned out really awesome. I love how that whole top area turned out. Again, very lightly decorated. I'm very tired, guys. I apologize if I'm getting out of sorts here. Doing these edits and commentary is a bit taxing. So we're going to take a look at the inside of this. Now, again, for those that didn't watch the first video, this was originally a barn pre-war that was converted to a restaurant by a big company that, again, ironically wanted to sell, chunks of grilled meat to people. So again, a bit of irony. I guess you could have called this the irony pillar. That could have been a double entendre as well. Could have been a little bit more decoration in here. It's a little sparse. We do have the hottest grills in town. Again, that was grills, Grill. And we got a lot of Deathclaw. We got some Deathclaw steaks here. We got some Meyerlurk. We got some Yaguai. This is where we do the second best noodle cups in the Commonwealth. Now, I want you guys to hear this real quick. This is, I believe, a bug.
Got work to do. Can't talk now.
Now, I know you could actually hear that. That sound effect, which comes from the armor benches, as near as I can figure, is an actual bug. This has happened before. Years ago, I had an issue with Piper wearing that same Western outfit. I also stuck him in the Western outfit with chaps and had the same issue. And the only one that doesn't do that, oh, there we go. I got my initials in there. Nice. The only one that doesn't actually do that is the Western outfit with the cowhide design on it. Now, man, these guys are really going to pick up after themselves. Now, this is the actual karaoke bar up here. This is actually ran by Marcy Long. And the karaoke bar is really awesome. If you want to hear some really great jams from McCready, man, him getting together with Deacon. Deacon. God rest your soul, man. Anyway, well, let's go here and have a drink.
What?
She's taking care. What do you mean, what? 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 Yeah, that's right. I took some wine. What are you going to do about it? Jeez, I tell you, you give somebody a roof over their head, food in their stomach, and a job, you think they'd be a little bit more respectful. But, you know, guys, to be honest, we're actually doing this to help out. It's all in RP. It's all in fun. But you know what's not all in RP is how much I appreciate you guys taking the time to watch this video. I knew I rant sometimes, and I just thank you so much for subscribing. And I am AdamaSanguine. I love you all. I'm out.